Alright, hey guys, here with a video to show you how I sort of get ready to do some blasting in PoE2 on my Spark character. I have a tab here, quad tab, that I just call map. It's right next to my one of my dump tabs. This has got all of my maps that I've rolled so that I can chug through, a lot of maps in a row without having to like stop and roll maps. So I've got a couple of T13s up here that I just use for like pathing maps or towers that I just want to blitz through as quickly as possible. And then I've got 3 different sections of maps here. This first little quadrangle here is quantity maps. So this is any map that has rolled some quantity. These are just some higher rarity maps that don't have quantity. And then these are experience gain maps. Currently, I'm, separating these out into different categories because, if I have a map that's just like super juiced, that has like, breach and maybe a couple of other mechanics on it, I probably want to be running a quantity map. If it's just like a good map, that maybe doesn't have breach, or maybe it's not that great of a layout or something, but it has a boss or something like that, I might just want to run a rarity map. If it's a +2 map, if it's radiated and corrupted, then it's possible that I want to be running some XP, especially if it's a good map, so I have those put out here as well. I also just have a big chunk of T15s that don't have any of these things. Over here. So these are just sort of generic, like if I'm... These are kind of like pathing maps as well. These are really just for like towers or maps that I have no intention of clearing at all. So these are also just kind of generic pathing maps. The way that I rolled these, I'll just show you how I did it using a different tab, because all my T15s I just rolled. Basically, I start with a stash tab full of maps. I go through and transmute, augment, regal, and just slam exalts on everything. I don't really care. It's easier to just go ahead and do it all in one fell swoop like that. And then there are a couple of mods that I specifically don't enjoy running or don't want to run. I'm level 95, trying to push up a little bit in levels, trying to go for 96, 97. So I really don't want to die in a map. And so there's a couple of mods that for me specifically I really don't like running. Number 1 is Burning Ground. So after I do, all the transmute, augment, regal, exalt, on all of the maps, I just search for Burning Ground. I bring those out, I vol them, and then, depending on what happens to it, I plop it into a sales tab. So like, for example, if I'm doing T15s and I get some T16s, I usually price those at 10 or 15x each, and they sometimes sell. I mean, they don't always sell, but they sometimes do, and then I can always bump the price down. I can periodically I'd like drag everything down a tab, to lower the price on stuff. If it hits just a T15, if it vols and it doesn't really change, maybe it goes to like 8 mod like this one, or it it doesn't really change like this one. Actually, this one is like all suffixes. Regardless, I just sort of plop these into the 5x tab. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with these. I might honestly just vendor these. Like, I'm not really sure if it's worth trying to sell these. Maybe in bulk. I haven't really explored that enough to know if that's really worth it. But anyways, so that's how I roll the maps. Once they get rolled, they come in here, right? So the things that once I've gotten rid of all the mods that I don't want to be worrying about, like minus max resistance, ailment threshold, because I'm doing like a freeze spark build. What else? Monsters penetrate elemental resistances. Like, those are mods that in a vacuum I'm probably fine with those, but when you layer 2 of those mods together, coupled with like 5 layers of delirium in a level 81 map or whatever, I could potentially die. Like, my character could die. So I'm just not interested in running those if I'm just trying to blast through maps, right? So then the question is, how do I get the maps actually like ready? How do I get the zones ready to be run? I've decided to make this video right now because I'm right at the point where I'm about to juice up this whole area. So what I did is when I logged on today, I was over here. This is like the last place that I had cleared out. I had done a lot of maps over here with all of these influence towers. So I noticed in the Fog of War that there were 5. Oh, I have a sale here. I noticed that there were. So this is one of those. Actually, never mind. This is a belt that is selling. I noticed that there were a lot of influence towers, all sort of clustered together. So here, I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Once this person buys this item, thank you. Okay, so when you look off into, oh, there's a citadel. So when you look off into the Fog of War, you can see the tips of these towers, right? So I looked off to the left because I was over here, right? And so the Fog of War was actually covering all of this. And I saw these 5 towers that were all sort of generically in the same area, in addition to these 2 as well. Actually, I guess I cleared those before. So I saw all 5 of these. What I did is I just pathed directly to these using up the worst map areas that I could. So like, for example, I don't want to use up a boss map or something in that pathing. So I was like using up maps like this, right, where it's just, okay, it has delirium, that's it. I don't influence them immediately, right? I try to get a full sort of area with 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna come over here in a second, clear out to this mesa. Although I might not, because this is a pretty juicy map and I don't really want to path through this before I roll everything. So I don't know, we'll see. But I get these 4 towers ready to go, and now I'm gonna socket all 4 of the tablets at the same time so that all of the maps get everything. If I do it one at a time, then as I'm pathing through, I'm like, I think in my mind, I'm like losing a little bit of value if I do that. So I just like to path to all the towers and do all the influence tablets all at once. And yeah, that feels really good to me. Oh, here's the 5th one. That's right. I forgot. I did do 5. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm rolling tablets. So there's kind of a I have an excess of tablets, to be honest with you, and the mechanic that I'm currently trying to farm, the thing that I think works best with this build and what's really good in PoE2 right now in general, is Breach. As you can see, I don't have any Breach really over here, so I'm about to juice these up with some Breach tablets. Also, obviously, I'm going to want some Irradiation just for +1 zone level. And what I really want on all of my Breach maps that I'm going to be running is quantity of items. Okay, and so what I'm doing is I kind of have an excess of these tablets right now. So what I did is I went through and I looked for all of my precursor tablets that have quantity of items, right? Because if you don't know how this works, when you socket a tablet into one of these towers, all of the maps in that range, yeah, they might not all get Breach or they might not all get Irradiated, but they do all get the suffixes, or sorry, they do all get the mods, these prefix and suffix here. All of the maps in that range are going to get this, you know, increased pack size and increased chance to contain a shrine. I don't want those. I want quantity of items. If I can juice up, you know, these maps in the central area to have huge quantity, if there's a Breach in there, then I could potentially be making some good money. You know, maybe getting a divine drop or 2. Especially if it rolls like a, you know, 3, 5, or 10 Breach map, you know, with this Crumbling Walls Atlas passive keystone thing. So what I was in the middle of doing was 3-to-1ing these tablets. These are all of my 8 maps in range or irradiated that do not have any quantity as one of their prefixes or suffixes on the rolls. So what I'm going to do here is just take a look at these now and see what they rolled into. Okay, so this one's pretty trash. This one is at least 10 maps. This one's pretty trash. This one's pretty bad as well. This one's pretty bad as well. And I'll go through here with the 9 maps are irradiated. I'll show you the full process here of what I'm doing. So I'm searching for quantity of items. Now you got to be careful because sometimes the quantity of waystones still shows up here. I don't know how to force it to... Oh, there you go. So you just put it in quotes. Haha. So now I'm going to click everything that isn't highlighted because I know that these don't have quantity of items. And I'm going to drag these over here to the right so you can see this big chunk here of 5 maps, 6 maps, 7 maps, 8 maps, 9 maps. Those all have quantity of item rolls. So I'm going to be using those here in just a second. I'm going to 3-to-1 these because honestly, like, I'm running out of space in this tab. So I'm going to 3-to-1 these really quickly. Get these back into the map tab. Okay, so what did these roll? Are there any good ones? Rarity of items, not really what I'm looking for. Okay, so here you go. Quantity of items, that's pretty solid. So we can put this back in the good tablet area. Okay, almost ready to go here. This is not good. Rarity of items, not good. Okay, and then these 10 maps in range are irradiated. I'm not going to roll these because I could potentially just want this precursor tablet for, whatever reason. Okay, so now the first priority is to get breach on a lot of these map zones. And so I'm probably going to do that here and also maybe here. Because there's also some nodes over here that I wouldn't mind getting breach. Like, actually, these are not that great. These are not that... Actually, those could be okay later, though. So, like, it's okay, actually, if I do breach on these two. I'm going to start with this one, though. So let's look if we have a really big breach roll with quantity of items. Okay, that's huge. So breaches in your maps have 10 increased or 7% increased monster density and 20% increased quantity of items, and it's going to influence 10 maps. So putting that here seems really good. I'm going to get some pretty good coverage on a lot of things. The only thing to maybe consider is, I see a lot of breaches up here already, so maybe I should do it here to give it a higher probability of hitting all these maps down in this area. Although I could hit a lot of these as well. I think regardless, I'm going to have to do 2 breach tablets, so let's just do it here, the original plan. Okay, so I hit breach in a lot of these zones, and you can see here that when I hover over, it says breaches have 7% increased monster density and the 20% increased quantity of items. Okay, so that's great. I want another breach tablet. Okay, so this one is now 9 maps in range contain breaches, and this also has quantity of items. Let's put it on this one. Okay, so now I hit breach on a lot more of these zones, and once again, if I hover over that one that I was looking at before, you see this one, 31% increased quantity. So it took the 20 plus the 11. And I'm actually going to do that with all 5 of these towers. Okay, so I think I'm ready for like an irradiated one. Let's just do, let's do this one. That seems good. I didn't have that many good irradiation tablets here. Okay, so this is like irradiated. This is going to make the zones +1. I'm not sure where to do this one. Maybe here? Seems okay. So once again, stacked even more rarity, or sorry, not rarity, quantity onto this particular zone right here. Well, onto all of these in the range, but like, this one, this one, this one, they all have 49 quantity. I've used up those 2 spots, or those 3 spots, so now I have 2 more that I can do. Looking here and here, I think I might want to go for another League mechanic. I have been wanting to try to do a little bit more expedition, So maybe I should come up here and look to see if I have any good expedition tablets. I don't have a lot of these tablets, so I don't want to use, like, I don't want to re-roll them. 10% increased quantity of expedition logbooks and experience gain, and it's 8 maps in range. That seems pretty good. So maybe I'll do that one here. Okay, a lot of them went down here, but that's okay. I'll be pathing down this way eventually, so it's not wasted. And then let's see, I have another one. What could that be? What could I do here? Honestly, more irradiation seems fitting. Yeah, because there's quite a lot of zones down this way that don't have the irradiation bonus. Okay, so let's just do another one of those. Sure, that looks fine. %15 quantity. Okay, and I got a few more things up here irradiated. Okay, so it's still kind of a bummer. You know, you have a couple of zones like this, and like this hidden grotto here that just, for whatever reason, none of the things that I decided to put in, all 5 of these towers went here, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Like this sand spit got literally nothing, so that's kind of sad. But for a lot of these spots, like this one, for example, which has a boss and breach, I have 53% quant, right? 64% quant. 49% quant, 64% quant. This has a breach, right? 46% quant. This is a +2 with a boss and a breach. I can't hover over it for some reason because things are a little buggy with the Atlas. With the Atlas map. I don't know why I clicked on this zone again on accident. But anyways, so that's how I get things sort of ready to go for a mapping spree. Now I've got experience gain maps, I've got rarity maps, I've got quantity maps, I have pathing maps. I am ready to blast for probably another hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on a substantial number of these maps, right? One final thing I'll say, if you look, if I look to the south here, there are 3 more towers, even like 5 towers that are like 6 towers here that are covering this zone. I probably want to be careful as I path down to this tower. You know, I will probably be forced to go here. I don't really see a way to get down here. Maybe I could go here, actually. Okay, so what I might do is I might go here to this crypt. Oh, that's really sad that that's a crypt. That's a terrible layout for breach. Anyways, so I'll have to go here, do this mesa tower, and then I can path through these, which are not really that juiced up, and I can get down to here, and I can influence these as well before I do these maps. Because these got a lot of the juice from the towers up here, I probably want to come and path down here and influence these before I run these maps. Otherwise, I'll be wasting, you know, whatever kinds of mods I can get on the precursor tablets to apply to these zones, right? Because like this is a savanna with a breach. That's pretty good layout, so I probably want to juice that one up even more. So I don't want to run it before I've pathed down here. So that's the idea. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. That's pretty long. I'll be posting, I think, some more videos when I have some strats or guides or whatever to things that I think are relevant. I'm also planning on doing some just like beginner PoE2 content. I'm not like that much of an expert compared to a lot of people that are out there, but I do think that I can maybe make some good beginner-friendly content. So that'll be in the works in the future. All right, thanks a lot. See you later.